first just want to orient you guys and remind you of what you've done in the past several weeks to get to this point, because you've done a lot. We started with just going over how to analyze advertisements in general, and we went over some vocab, including rhetoric, logos, pathos, and ethos, message, tone, color. And then you guys picked an advertisement from a newspaper, online, or something, and you analyzed it according to those vocabulary words and wrote some paragraphs on that. And then you identified a social justice issue that was important to you, and you researched that and you wrote a paper on it. And then in groups, you created ad campaigns based on those social justice issues. So your ad campaigns are groups of images, and they're hanging on the walls. And those three are my students' work. And many of them were digital, so I didn't have access to them to print out to post. But those three campaigns came from my students. So today is kind of like a one final assessment and practice. And here's the situation, is that you're all curators in a museum, and these social justice ad campaigns have come in, and your task is in pairs to analyze these social justice ad campaigns and write a little description that we can put up in the gallery next to them. So we're going to go over a few vocab words just to refresh your memory, and then you guys are going to get into pairs and write those captions, and I'll put on museum music for you. Okay, so today you're going to analyze social justice ad campaigns, and the way you're going to do that is you are going to describe their message in tone. If you remember, the message is what the advertiser wants you to think and believe about the product, the organization, or issue the ad addresses. It's the lasting impression. And it's more than just buy this object. It's you want to buy this object because it's fast and furious, and because you're a fast and furious person. Tone. The tone is the feeling of an ad, or the emotion that the ad evokes for the viewer. So it's how it makes you feel as the viewer, or how viewers in general are going to feel when they approach this image. Okay, so we've talked about this in the past. But when you are looking at any image, but in particular an advertisement, what are elements that build both message and tone? What are the things, when you look at an image, what makes you decide what the message is and what the tone is? Does that make sense? Does that question make sense? Yeah. Okay, so go ahead and think about it for 10 seconds, and then you're going to talk about it with the person next to you. Okay, go ahead and discuss with Betty.
Emotion. Yep. Emotion.
When people are happy, buy this because it's going to be happy.
Yeah.
What else?
Kind of the lighting. No, if you want a really positive message, like I'm guessing it's probably a human trafficking ad over there, and it's really dark to convey a dark message.
Color, lack of color.
But obviously, if you're portraying a good message, like if I'm a company wanting you to buy something, I'm going to make it look sunshine and rainbows. So.
It could tug at your emotions. It could tug at your, the color could tug at your emotions too.
Okay, if you hear my voice, that's not only me. Right? I used to use, if you can hear my voice, clap twice, and then they got too quick for me, so I said, if you can hear my voice, stop talking and look at me. Okay, so let's hear from a couple of people. What did you brainstorm? What are some things that you're gonna
lighting.
Lighting?
Just because, I'm guessing, I haven't seen it fully, but that is a very dark issue over there. You know. And if it's really light, obviously you're portraying a positive message.
Great. What are some other things?
We talked about the facial expressions especially, and if it would be, you know, talking about who would this connect with, and that's the intended audience typically.
That's great. Let's get one more. Yeah.
We talked about who the subject is, so, and that can help to kind of evoke tone. Like if Andrew sees an image, it might make him feel a different way than if I see it, according to who the subject is.
Perhaps demographic. Is the demographic that the ad is speaking to?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Well, you guys came up with really great detailed ones. These are some pretty basic ones. Look at the slogans or the text. The images or the visual elements, so it can be lines that collide, or it can be straight lines as opposed to curvy lines, something like that. And color. So those are three basic ones that you can think about. So I'm going to hand this out. On here is more detail for your assignment. But you're first going to do a physical description of the images that are up. And then you're going to identify what is the social justice issue that's being communicated. Then you're going to talk about the message and the tone. And then what makes the ad campaign hold together? How does it, what creates it as a group of images as opposed to individual images? And for message and tone, you're going to want to identify what evidence in the pictures makes you determine the message and the tone. So using these, how do these build what you've identified as the message and the tone? Okay, so you guys can pick an image around, or a group of images around the room. I don't care where you go. Go pick a group, and you can put your final write-up on the back of this.
We go together.
Yes, you're doing this in your group, in your twos.
That's what the viewer to complete the sentence. Right. But this person doesn't have a right.
Oh, I forgot to tell you something. You must be honest about these images. So if you feel there is no clear message, you need to state that. And if you believe there's no clear message, then you need to state why you believe there's no clear message. But be honest about the images you're looking at. Okay, go.
Can I record you, ladies?
Yes. Oh, to not next to each other. Oh.
So we should just pick one?
I think so.
But then talk about it as a whole.
So right.
Justice, obviously, sexualization, or
At least in this one, it's red.
gender equality.
It's kind of what, besides the child's face, that's what stands out.
Yes. Tone is big.
Yes. Red color.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the best.
Word.
Gender roles, even.
So I noticed on all three, I noticed first that on these two, big child face, big eyes, looking up from perhaps a more submissive position,
We just came up with it.
and all three, I think, are
Mark, do you want to do this?
girls. Yes. Which are usually the more vulnerable.
I mean, obviously their slogan is hashtag stop sexualization. Gender.
These two are really
identity or gender roles. You could do.
extreme.
What is
gender language? I don't, English, health.
Start like harsh language.
Yes.
Or
But don't you think that this is more
Like
how
when
society is?
you, like superlatives, except I'm not sure that that's what these are. Nobody, everybody, extremes, nobody's great. Everybody's great.
So
Like,
is
what
the
does a child
ideal
word
woman
like?
scantily clad and very
Extreme blatant
sexually
language.
veiled?
Yeah.
Because these guys aren't interested.
Is the ideal woman part of just a sloppy pile of
So super strong metaphor.
Is the ideal woman young?
Trafficking equals.
Is the ideal woman something you can describe as
Influence,
features?
Or maybe, how about gender
These two.
like all these kinds of
Or like, maybe it's just how it's printed, but she looks like she's not real taken care of. Something about
Just the setting maybe there? It's all,
yeah.
To me, I'm seeing
That
gender
wall.
expectation.
I think so.
Yeah,
And
that's a
it
good
looks like a not
Is that
friendly.
fine?
right, they,
Okay.
girls look like they're.
The message of the campaign as a whole.
They're not being cared for, or cared for.
I almost think that these are flawed because they identify a problem that didn't show you
They're,
how you should
I
see
mean,
it.
they're,
They identify someone being poorly portrayed.
Yes, good point.
This is how we were.
Okay, so this is maybe the first half of an hour.
so then,
Notice bad things. Okay, so what's the message of them? So we can say the message is the things that we see.
How do you react?
Because it takes it to such an extreme.
shocked but sad. I mean, it's
Yeah.
The message
something that I know is an
have
issue, but to see
um,
like a child's face on the issue, it makes it more personal.
Yeah.
To make the sexualization of women uncomfortable.
More of the
Right, so this would take me a long time to catch that.
pathos?
Which I think is really
Yep, for your, or is it, yeah, or that
Pathos, logos, and
Forgive me, I don't know. I think pathos is emotion.
ethos.
Don't, I
I
think,
think so too. This is more,
I guess she just highlighted.
it's not like
I said,
it's not like a chart that says time to start at
12 and, yeah, so you have 15, so.
giving very like
Says to me, minority
Right.
simple but emotional choices.
it's not
Saying stuff.
It's confrontational, not like violent confrontation, more like, I look at these and I feel like I'm.
This one
Here's what it's
is more. These seem like they're
Almost an
stuffing your
insider
track.
way.
Oh my gosh.
So I think it's self-critical.
This
So these don't seem judgmental to me, they seem
stuffed you in your tracks.
like, here's,
And
this is about
get you
us.
to react.
I don't think it's
And this
pointing
one
a finger, I
feels
think
like
it's saying, this is
move
real.
to action a little more. Like,
Take
this is a
action.
command.
Yeah.
break the change. Do your
All right,
part.
if I could get everyone's attention. I think the 15 minutes is just almost up. So in my class, they did this today actually, and I just let them go for a certain amount of time, and then I collected everything. But did anybody find that the group of images did not have a clear message? Yeah.
We tried looking at a couple of different viewpoints. And I said, okay, here I am, I'm a quite liberal, feminist guy who understands that this is about women's rights. But if I were not, if I were a chauvinist, would I see this and say, yeah, right on, women should be put in their place? So, to me, the message was not clear. Because what I think is the message, and what is here, really tiny print. Women should have the right to make their own decisions. But I missed that until I looked at the image for quite a while. And then Michael pointed out this is really a call to action. Based primarily because the women themselves didn't have words that they could say. It's like they didn't have a voice in the conversation, so you need to be that voice. Otherwise, that's what's going to happen to them.
So I think what you've identified is that the message might shift depending on what the demographic is. I think that's a really fair point. You know, and I think many of these can be ambiguous.
Yeah.
So one kind of tangential lesson is that as a curator, as someone who is looking at images, you